Hey everybody, and welcome to another expanded guide. Today we're going to be looking at Trish Scarborough, the spy from the Innsmouth Conspiracy cycle. We're going to look at some notable cards, talk about her, and Bryn, because you have most recently played Trish Scarborough on this channel, I'm going to pass it to you to talk about her cards and her personals. So, whenever you're ready, go for it.
All right. So we've got 2-4-2-4. Obviously, we prefer those twos to be just about anything else. But fives would be a little good. And as is, two brain is not the worst thing in the world. As our reaction effect, after we evade an enemy, after we discover a clue at a location with an enemy, we can either discover an extra clue or we can evade that enemy. Kind of good.
Yeah, strong ability, very strong ability.
Yeah. There's a star effect, but I honestly couldn't tell you what it does. I don't see those usually.
Yeah. So the star effect for Trish is if this is it's +2, and if this is an investigation, you may choose any real location you are now investigating as if you were at that location instead. I've played Trish a few times. It's not incredibly relevant. Mostly it's just a +2, which is still a nice token. It's a positive token.
Yeah.
If it triggers and it's actually like relevant and you can get a clue out of it, like that's gravy. But you're normally investigating at the location you want to investigate. But it could still maybe find some value, but don't expect it to.
Yeah, like a +2 is better than just a +1, I suppose.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, we get rogue cards 0 to 5, seekers 0 to 2. We have yet to see an investigator who cannot play neutral cards, which would be something.
Mm-hmm.
Our unique cards, we got In the Shadows. If it's fast, you play it when your turn begins. Disengage from each enemy engaged with you until the end of the round. Enemies cannot engage you and cannot deal damage. You cannot deal damage to enemies, but that's okay. Like, we got 2 punch, we're not going to be doing damage, probably. Some cool things we can do with this is we can abuse a lot of cards that exist in green that require there to be an enemy at our location, but allow us to discover a giant pile of clues all at once. Mm-hmm. And we can just use this to ignore them. It also commits for Foot, Wild, Wild.
So, yeah.
It's a lot of icons, and they can all be the same one if you want them to. Our signature weakness is Shadow Agents. 3/3/5 enemy. Pray Trish Scarborough only. Hunter. While it is engaged with you, you cannot discover clues except by investigating. Forced after it is evaded, discard it. It does hit for 2 meat, which is like kind of chunky. But unlike most Seeker-aligned characters, we've got a bigger meat score than we do horror score. So we can probably just afford to eat that 2 damage and investigate the location to use our ability to discard it. In the Shadows will also, like, it won't discard him, but you can probably ignore him for the rest of the game.
Yeah. And as well as we can tank that damage, but there's also a lot of tricks you can use to avoid the attack of the Shadow Agents while still getting rid of them without evading them. But also sometimes your foot can just be high enough that you can just evade them even. Especially with some skill cards. So with Trish, we're looking at her ability. She's pretty straightforward for an investigator. But we're going to look at her ability and when we can get advantage out of that. So we want to, like, anything that can trigger when there's an enemy at our location, like, and we can, like, add on to effects are really sick. And then also, like, anything that, as you'll see, you can either investigate without provoking an attack of opportunity, or, like, investigating and blocking an attack of opportunity are also really nice for Trish, especially with her weakness, because sometimes it can come at an awkward point, but as Bryn said, you can eat the 2 and just investigate as long as there's a clue at your location. Otherwise,
yeah, that's a bad choice.
Yeah. So her strengths are a very strong card pool and a very fantastic ability. Her weaknesses are lower will. Her fist is completely like irrelevant, so we're not even worried about that. And then the other thing is her ability needs an enemy to be relevant, but that's like, it's a very soft weakness. That's just like, it's less of a weakness and more of a fact, but it is something that you might need to work for if you want to get her ability every turn. So let's dive into the core set, and Travis, I'll let you take these cards.
Okay. So first up, we got Magnifying Glass. Takes up one of your hand slots, gives you +1 book. That gives you 5 book. That's good. We got Dr. Milan. He gives you +1 book in your ally slot. And after you successfully investigate, you gain a resource. Pretty solid. Better than most of the other economy options available to you at level 0, even though you're a rogue. Working a Hunch is a card that is exceptionally good for Trish because it is fast, and you can just use it to trigger your ability and evade an enemy. And
Notably
like,
not
not
the
no
Shadow
cost,
Agents.
but
Yeah, notably
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
Shadow Agents for that
but-
one.
Not the shot.
it's just a super easy way to get away from enemies.
Yeah.
Deduction is always good. We got pickpocketing, some card draw. You're going to be evading a fair amount of enemies, whether with your foot or your ability. We got Leo DeLuca, who's another option for your ally slot. He just gives you extra action every turn, which, depending on what else you got in your deck, may or may not be more useful than the +1 book and resources. We have Elusive, which is a very strong panic button to get away from things. And Sneak Attack, which is a nice option for Trish to be able to do damage to enemies, especially since you can evade them for free.
Yeah. So sick. All right, next thing here is we got Flashlight. This is a tool to get clues. It's part of our clue video. That's why there's a little tag there. And then we got some staples: Emergency Cash, Unexpected Courage, Manual Dex, Perception. Either 2 wilds, the skills you're using, or more resources. You can see those in our staple videos down in the description. I'll keep this running into the upgraded cards because I basically said nothing there. We have the upgraded Magnifying Glass, so now it's fast, and you can return it to your hand if there are no clues on your location, which is good if you need to play another hand slot item. Disc of Idzamna, the upgrade: when a non-elite enemy spawns your location, discard the disc to discard that enemy. You, wait a minute. Does that work with the frickin' guys? The Shadow Agents? If it does, that's some hot tech. This is me just discovering things as we're recording a video. So like, there are cases where Trish is okay with enemies at her location, but sometimes maybe the enemy is really big and you want to say, no, Mr. Gug, I don't want to talk to you. This can help with that. If you already have Leo DeLuca in your deck, the upgrade makes him 1 cheaper for the cost of 1 XP, which is relevant because then you don't have to spend an action to get to 6 on the first turn. And then there's Sure Gamble, which is play after you reveal a Chaos token with a negative modifier. Switch that token's positive to a plus. Insurance, test insurance. Don't fail, pass instead. All right, Bryn. We're already in Dunwich, so I'll throw these ones to you.
All right, we got Seeking Answers. It's a 1-costed investigate event. If you succeed, instead of discovering a clue at your location, you can discover a clue at a connecting location, which we can use to trigger our ability without ever actually being at the location. There's a lot of neat things can be done with that. The most boring of which is to simply discover another clue. But we can use it for all kinds of neat things, like buying a turn off of a hunter enemy who would move into the location, or something like that. We got Liquid Courage. Not good for Trish, but a good card to have in your deck. It's a 1-costed asset, 4 supplies. Spend 1 supply, choose an investigator at your location to heal 1 horror. That investigator tests Brain 2, which is also the number we got.
Oh, wow.
If the test succeeds, then you get to heal an additional horror, but if it fails, you got to discard a random card from your hand. Healing horror is often a lot more relevant than it appears on the face of it, and this does it for a fairly low cost. Admittedly, you will likely be failing every brain test you make with this with Liquid Courage, but your teammates might not. And if you got to heal yourself that bad, then you had to heal yourself that bad. Think on your feet. It's a 1-costed fast event. You play it when an enemy would spawn at your location. You immediately move to a connecting location. The enemy still spawns at your previous location. It's just an enemy management tool. Maybe you've headed off away from your team, or you're playing solo. and you just don't want to deal with this guy. Done. Easy.
It also provides a moment where you have seeking answers in your hand, 2 clues on your location. You're like, I'm just going to get out of here anyway. Move away, get the seeking answers, grab the 2 clues, and just keep moving. Oh, you'll feel like
See
a
you later.
superstar.
Yeah, then we've got I've Got a Plan, which is another method for dealing with enemies. It's a 3-costed fight event. The attack uses Book. You deal +1 damage for the attack for each clue you have to a max of +3. 4 damage is a lot of damage.
It seems like, so like whenever I've Got a Plan like a ghoul, it's kind of funny because they grab the electric thing. But like if you do this on like shadow agents and like Home Alone them, it's actually kind of scary when you think about it. Just electrocuting them to death. All right, Travis, I'll throw these next ones to you.
Cool. We got out of here. Commits for 2 feet, which is one of the stats that you use sometimes and lets you resign. This one's a little campaign dependent, but can be a nice trick. Got Lone Wolf as an economy option. Trish definitely has the means to take care of herself should various problems arise. So it's not too difficult to be beginning your turn, or dangerous to be spending time alone. Acquiring Mind is just a nice solid skill card. Pretty much always going to be a location with a clue, and if you're not, you're probably doing something wrong. Giving you +3 to your brain value in the Mythos phase makes it like actually salvageable, which is pretty nice. Got Quick Thinking, which pairs really well with some other cards like Lockpick and Breaking and Entering, to give you just an extra action. Dr. William T. Mailson is a very cheap form of Soak, as well as a way to help ward off that some of those tough brain tests in the Mythos phase. Dropping the clue is a little bit less of a cost for Trish than it is for some other investigators because she can pick them up so easily. We got Pathfinder. It's just a nice way to nice action compression to move around the map. Deduction level 2 is more clues. And Streetwise, you can spend resources to make the stats you use better. It's permanent. So
Don't even have to draw it.
Yep.
2 more notable cards from Dunwich. They're in our the staples down below. We have Charisma if you want more allies, and Relic Hunters if you want more, like, I don't know, maybe lucky cigarette cases or Disc of Exomnos. Pick your poison. Do what you want. I'll continue into Carcosa here. We have Narrow Escape. Fast play when enemy makes an attack of opportunity against you. Cancel that attack. You get +2 skill value for the next skill test you perform this turn. This is nice with her ability, because this is one of those things I was talking about, how where with shadow agents, as the primary example we have here, you can investigate, stop that attack, get +2, and then use that +2 to not only pass the test, but maybe even draw something off your lucky cigarette case as well. So like if you're looking for options and you're missing some of the later ones that can exist here, Narrow Escape is really good for that. In the Know uses 3 secrets. Spend a secret to investigate, and investigate any revealed location as if you were at that location. Her ability would trigger. You could grab clues if there happens to be an enemy at that location. Lockpicks are both a staple and part of the clue video down below in the description. What's better than investigating at 4? How about investigating at 8? Whoa. Only once per turn, but still. Having a number, especially when you pair it with the Lucky Cigarette Case, the upgraded version, it can start getting really good and really consistent for it. We have Fieldwork. After you move to location, if that location has a clue on it, exhaust it, you get +2 skill value for the next skill test you perform. Look at all these just Seeker and Rogue cards that work well with the Succeed by 2 archetype. It's like they're just begging to be put together and for Trish to take advantage of them. So that's something you can definitely do here if that interests you. Bryn, I'll throw these ones to you.
All right, we got Logical Reasoning. This one is a 2-costed insight event that we can only play if we have at least 1 clue. Hey, we don't have a clue. We're in trouble. We get to choose an investigator at our location. That investigator either heals 2 horror or discards a terror card from their threat area. It also commits for 2 brains, which puts us up to 4, which is not an amazing number, but we might be able to pass a test.
Yeah.
Big thing that this one does is there are a lot of terrors in this game that require you to pass a brain test to discard them.
Like Frozen in Fear.
Yeah, and we're not going to do that. But you can also use it on one of your teammates who might be in a similar boat to you. Okay, Eureka. It's just a skill that commits for almost a wild. And if the skill test is successful, the performing investigator searches the top 3 cards of their deck for a card, and then they draw it. Shuffle their deck. Just replaces itself, helps you find stuff. It's good. Now we've got Forewarned. It is a 0-costed event. It's fast. You play it when you draw a non-weakness treachery card. You place one of your clues on your location, then you cancel that card's revelation effect. It's just like Ward of Protection with a different cost. Mostly a good time. We got level 2 Pickpocketing. This is much a case of second verse, just like the first. Except this verse is fast, and after we succeed the test, you can exhaust it to draw the card or gain the resource, but if you succeeded by 2 or more, you get to do both. So, yeah, no, not a little bit louder or a little bit worse, actually. It's kind of just better. We got upgraded Shortcut. This one might not seem like an upgrade on the face of it, and sometimes you'd be right. It costs 1 instead of 0. It's fast. You play it only during your turn. You attach it to your location, and the attached location gains Lightning Bolt. Exhaust it. Move to a connecting location. So this upgrade does require a little bit of player knowledge about the scenario you're playing. Because if there are locations that you need to move through several times, this is much better than level 0 Shortcut.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's kind of not. Lastly, we got Key of Ease, and the only thing I got to say about Key of Ease is that it's good.
It's good.
Yep.
It's good.
That's it.
All right, Travis, we're going to venture into the jungle. Why don't you take us into the first cards of the Forgotten Age? Wow.
Yeah, okay. We got Lola Santiago, who is a staple for rogues, but also is exceptionally good for Trish, boosting both of her relevant stats, and also doing that same trick as working a hunch where you can just get a clue at lightning bolt speed to evade an enemy without having to take an attack of opportunity. Great use of your ally slot. Tooth of Owsley, an accessory that can bump up your brain to a pretty okay 3, and your foot to a great 5 while you're resolving treachery cards. And after you succeed the skill test, you get to draw a card. Yeah, you handle this one, which is just, actually arguably like the premier option for rogues to deal with tough brain tests, just give them to someone else. And then Lucky Cigarette Case, which another one of those cards that pairs really well with lockpicks as a means of card draw in exchange for your accessory slot.
I do like with all other ways to deal with encounter cards, they get canceled, and the rogue one's like, nah, here, you handle this one. It's just you saying they give it to someone else just made me realize how perfect it is.
Yeah.
The card's still on the table. It still exists. It's still there. It's still making someone's day a little bit rougher, but not yours. Some more cards here from the Forgotten Age. We got True Understanding. This commits to a skill test from ability printed on a scenario card. If the test is successful, discover 1 clue at your location. This allows you to even potentially maybe just evade an enemy that somehow latched onto you in a time like in the Mythos phase. Like you can still evade this enemy. For example, even if someone else drew an enemy and you get a foot test on your Mythos card, you can use True Understanding to discover a clue in the Mythos phase and then evade that enemy. Just some nice tech that can exist there. Slip Away is a way to super evade an enemy, adding your book to it, and going back to what I said about lockpicks, what's better than evading at 4? How about evading at 8? The enemy is super evaded as well, so it does not ready during the next upkeep phase as long as it is non-elite. Truth from Fiction is nice. It places 2 secrets on an asset you control, and only if there's a clue at your location, which there probably will be because you're going to be the clue getter. You're just dictating the pace for the way the clues are picked up. And if you have a secret build, Truth from Fiction is going to fit very nice in there. Backpack's a staple, can help you find items. Sorry, Travis?
Sorry?
Oh, I thought you said something. My mistake.
Nope.
Cool. If there is a backpack can help you find your items and supplies, and it's a staple, we talk about it more down in the description. We got quick study. Place one of your clues on your location to exhaust quick study to get +3 skill value for the skill test. If you want some more, if you want some synergy to go along with your cards where you need to have a clue on your location, you can use quick study for that. Quick study is just otherwise, +3 to a skill at the cost of a clue, which, as we've mentioned with Trish, are pretty easy to pick up. And then last but not least, we got the skeleton key, an exceptionally fast item, and that's also a relic and a cursed. Attach it to your location. If it's already attached to location, detach it and return it to your play area instead. And you set the attached location's shroud value to 1, which means almost anybody can grab a clue off of that location if they try. All right. Circle Undone. Bryn, I'll pass this to you.
We got Cunning. This one's actually kind of not that great. Unless you wanted to test your foot or book at 7. Then it's pretty good, I guess. It commits for a book and a foot. If you've got 5 or more money, like you might because you're green, it gets an extra symbol, extra copy of each symbol. And when you got 10 or more, it's worth 2 extra symbols. So you do have to think about it a little bit, because you have to have built a deck where you might have 5 money just hanging out. But when you do, it's good. We got the fingerprint kit. This one's one of the clue gathering staples. I'm sure you can see why. And crack the case. This one's one of the economy, well, just like staple cards in general. Honestly, big pile of money, like maybe for a Cunning. And we got an intel report. This one's one of the clue gathering staples. This one is extra cool with Trish because we can pay more money to discover a clue at a location we're not at. So we can pick a location. Yeah, where the enemy happens to be, as opposed to being reliant on them coming to find us.
Man, and if you're playing the game and you do something like that, you're gonna feel so smarmy. You're gonna be like, hey, screw you, Arkham Horror. It's gonna feel good. Yeah. Here, Travis, why don't you take these guys?
Sure. You have 2 versions of Tennessee Sour Mash, which just to show up that low brain score. Hawkeye folding camera, which is fine for Trish, but not quite as useful as for some other investigators. She doesn't get that much use out of the +1 brain. Plus book is still nice, and the plus sanity also helpful with her 6. You got Mr. Rook, who's a great ally for churning through your deck if you're looking for specific cards. And also the Esoteric Atlas, which is a pretty solid movement option.
Yeah.
If you don't have access to Pathfinder or whatever. It's also a tome, and there's a fair bit of synergy in the Seeker cards with that.
With Mr. Rook as well, because with this one especially, if you're built for it, and we always say on this channel, you want to look at 9, because also finding your weakness when you want to is a privilege. But I think that works even more with Trish, because if you're set up and ready to evade the Shadow Agents, why waste a draw on that in the future when you can just use Mr. Rook to just get them now? So, particularly relevant there. Oh my goodness, we're already on Dream Eaters. Thank you, Trish, for keeping this nice and simple and not being like Carolyn Fern, where she can play literally every card that exists. All right.
What's this card do? You can play it.
Yeah, put it in. You might as well try it. We have Crystallizer of Dreams. So this is it comes with the Guardians of the Crystallizer, which actually are kind of like a reward for playing the Crystallizer, because it gives you an enemy that you can just evade, and you get a benefit from it in the process. That sounds pretty sick. So they get shuffled into your
exhausted.
Deck. Yeah, they enter play exhausted, which basically means, hey, I'm going to discover an additional clue the turn I draw them. What the Crystallizer does is after you play an event, you can attach it face down to the Crystallizer instead of discarding it to a maximum of 5, and attached events may be committed to skill tests as if they were in your hand. So if you're building especially there's really relevant green and yellow events that have, you guessed it, book and foot symbols on them. So like that works really well with Trish. So there's actually like a lot of good with Crystallizer and Trish. It does mean that without the Relic Hunter, you can't take advantage of Lucky Cigarette Case, but like it is its own build and it is very fun. And I imagine very successful in Trish because you get an exhausted enemy at one point to just get an additional clue. It's like Christmas. We got Followed. Investigate, choose an enemy or location. You get +1 book for this investigation for each damage on the chosen enemy. If you succeed, discover one additional clue at this location, and this action does not provoke attacks of opportunity from the chosen enemy. So, Bryn, I believe you played this when you did Trish for our Innsmouth run, right?
Yeah, I did.
The not provoking an attack of opportunity does that seem particularly sweet here, because once again, it's one of those things where it can allow you to now deal with the shadow agents or anything else, or even just evade the enemy when it's done. Just some relevant text for Trish. Practice makes perfect is a staple, and it's always good. Deduction is practiced. Plan of action, I believe, is the card is practiced. Perception is practiced. There's got to be more that I can't think of off the top of my head, but like it's just a lot of really good practice cards that you can use in this deck. Easy Mark is some fantastic economy. You get to gain 2 resources and draw a card, and after you play Easy Mark, you can play another Easy Mark from your hand at no cost. And then we got Segment of Onyx and Pendant of the Queen, which seems like it'll be hard to find, but if you do this with a level 3 or whatever, a level 3 cigarette case, it's just asking to be found, and you'll find them. So something you can do there. Okay, I'm just going to, before I hand these ones to Bryn, I'm just going to say, for a detailed breakdown of the Bless and Curse cards, you can check out the description video for a link to the relevant archetype guide of that, because there's a lot of cards in them, and rather than talk about all of them, we're just going to point you to those ones. So the 2 examples I have here from that are Faustian Bargain, because it's also a staple and really good, and then also Deep Knowledge. So Bryn, I'll throw you to the 4 on the bottom.
All right. We got the Cryptographic Cipher. This one is in the staples for clue gathering. That's also is extra good with Trish because it allows us to investigate with a lightning bolt, dodging those pesky attacks of opportunity. We got Breaking and Entering. This one is a staple for clue gathering archetypes as well. And like you should play it. This card is real good.
Yeah, it's also like a staple for Trish. It's like really good in Trish.
Yeah, honestly, this one almost could be a green staple.
I think it is at this point.
It's that good.
Yeah.
Like if you can play green cards, you should be thinking about this card. It's extra good for Trish because we get to add our 2 good numbers together to do the thing that we want to do anyway. Get a free evade, which means that we can take the extra clue every time guilt-free.
Yeah, and if you miss, you can just still evade. You can be like, haha, yep. Got you.
Yeah. It does not provoke attacks of opportunity. We got Under Surveillance, which is a little bit of a weird one. It is a 3-costed event that attaches to your location. Limit 1 per location. First, after a non-elite enemy enters attached location, discard Under Surveillance, automatically evade that enemy, and discover 1 clue at the attached location. That enemy does not ready during the next upkeep phase. Like you just, it's got all it hits all the buttons.
It does hit all the buttons.
Like it's good. It's also probably super good against mindless dancers, and I should try to bear that in mind.
Oh yeah.
I'll forget for sure. We got Obfuscation up last here, which is a 2-costed asset that takes up our Arcane slot, which is honestly probably just about the least competition you've ever seen for a slot. It's fast, it uses 3 charges, and as a reaction effect, when an enemy makes an attack of opportunity against you, spend a charge. Cancel the attack. Don't even worry about it. Shadow agents, not this time, or next time, or the time after that.
But after that, then we might have a problem. Yeah. Oh crap, I drew my 4th Shadow Agents?
Like, oh my god.
I'm in danger.
Yeah. Yeah, it's even fast, so you don't need to commit the resources to playing it until you know you're going to need it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of good.
Yeah, this was obviously, as Travis brings up in a lot of these videos, when a cycle is released, there are cards that are obviously for an investigator, and obfuscation is obviously for Trish Scarborough here. Like, it's
Yeah.
just very good with her.
It is a little odd that Dex is in the art instead of her, but I guess she doesn't do magic.
She doesn't do magic.
Yeah. It's also like a fine card for Dexter too.
It is. It's fast. A fast assets that's cheap is always, I think, worth its time to at least look at for Dexter. But I actually think we literally do Dexter next week, so we'll talk about him then. All right, Travis. Edge of the Earth. I'll pass this to you.
Cool. First up, we got Jeremiah Kirby, who is the card version of Dr. Milan, kinda. Gives you +1 book, and he'll reload your hand when you play him. You might want to take into account what you're putting in your deck, though, when you or how much the cards cost, so you know what to pick.
Can you imagine if you procced when you investigated? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We got Scout Ahead. This one just lets you move 3 times. Enemies don't engage you during this movement. Commits for 2 feet as well. Help you with a foot test and just save you a bunch of actions. Ethereal Slip is a cute little trick for Trish where you can swap places with an enemy. Whether to get on the other side of either push like a hunter enemy further away from your team, or to like if there's an enemy that's between you and your team that you need to get away from, something like that. And then Hit Me, which is honestly just like a fun card. I don't think it's ever great, but it's always like good.
And you're gonna say Hit Me when you play it, so like that's sick.
Yeah.
As a side note,
a fun card.
Before I move on to the next one, just look at how compressed that Dexter art is on Ethereal Slip on this scan.
Yeah. It's like a little gross.
Alright, let's keep Edge of the Earth going. So we got Hiking Boots. Limit 1 footwear per investigator, you get +1 foot, which is relevant. But then after the last clue is discovered from your location, you can exhaust Hiking Boots to move to a connecting location with at least 1 clue, or to a connecting unrevealed location. This is just free movement when you're done with a location. Hiking Boots is a very strong card, and I think it would... Honestly, most Cloovers will benefit from putting a Hiking Boots in their deck. We got Survey the Area. While it's in your hand or commit to a skill test, it gains book icons equal to your foot, or foot icons equal to your book. Wow, 4 and 4. When you really just want to like do really good on a test.
Just plain better than cunning.
Yeah. Then we got counter. I mean, it's actually that's actually a good point too. With what Bryn was saying. Sometimes though, when you're building your deck, if your plan is survey the area, if you want to put something that like is going to exist in a similar spot, cunning could be a placeholder for survey the area, and then you could upgrade into that when you get to it. There are other options too, but this is just like where you can like see that kind of planning for your deck building come to mind. Counter Espionage. When you draw non-weakness Treachery, cancel that card's revelation effect and draw the top card of the encounter deck. You can pay an additional 2 to change the encounter deck to your deck, and you can pay an additional 2 to change you to any investigator. But let's be real, you're a rogue. You're probably not going to do that part. We have the Red Clock 2 and the Red Clock 5. This is just a really big exceptional asset that costs 4 and 10 experience. But what they do is they give you plus to your skill value 1 turn, and next turn move up to 3 times or 2 times. And then the third time you take either 1 or 2 additional actions, and you can you gain resources on the way. There's a lot of text on the cards. They're really cool. They're really fun. They're by no means like a priority upgrade. There are better things you can put money into. But as Bryn often says, if you have 10 experience, you might as well buy the clock.
What are you going to do?
Not buy the clock? Next up, we got Moxie. 0 cost, 3 experience, talent, composure. It gives you +1 brain and +1 foot. It's also fast. Non-direct damage and or horror must be assigned to Moxie before it can be assigned to your investigator, and you can spend a resource to get +1 brain or +1 foot. I like the majority of these composures. I think they're very strong. And this one, if you're worried about your brain, it can give you some support for that. I don't think it's a priority upgrade for Trish by any means. There are better things, but I think their relevant stats gets you to 3 for 1 resource. You go to 4, and that's like you can go to 5 for 2 resources. This is a lot of resources. They need to come from somewhere, so you have to be aware of that. But Moxie, I think, it's a nice card. Then we got the Eon charts. So I'm going to skip over the level 1/1 and go right to the level 4/1, even though the level 1/1 is also still good. During your turn, you can exhaust Eon Chart and spend a secret. Choose and take 2 of the following actions in any order. Move, evade, or investigate. You can evade, then investigate, and that enemy you just evaded is going to give you an additional clue in the process. Or, because these are test lists, you can investigate, evade the enemy that's with you, and then move out of the location. There's a lot of versatility that Eon Chart can provide Trish Scarborough. Like, it's good in other investigators, of course, but with Trish, there's a lot of cool tricks you can do to take full advantage of it. Bryn, why don't you take these guys?
All right. We got level 2 Ethereal Slip. The difference here is that it's no longer 2 locations away, just existing. It also costs 1 less, so that's kind of cool too. We got the Precious Mementos, a former life, previous life, whatever, future life, something like that. What these ones do is they sit in your accessory slot and they soak a ton of damage. They soak 3 and 3, and they both have reaction abilities that say after you fail a skill test by 2 or more, you get to heal it for 1 of the 2, depending which one it is. And after you succeed a skill test by 2 or more, do the other one. Otherwise, they're pretty much the same card. You can only have 1 of them, like, by title per deck, so you can't have 2 that heal on the same condition, but you also probably don't have them. Then we got Jenna Beauregard. She is just neat. She costs 5, which is a lot of money. She's level 3, which is a lot of, well, not a lot of XP, really. We just looked at a red clock. It gives you +1 book and +1 foot. Those are the numbers you want to use. So she just makes you better at the things you wanted to do already. And then as a reaction effect during your turn, after you move to a location, you can exhaust her to either move a clue or a non-elite enemy from a connecting location to your location, or vice versa. If we know one thing about Trish, it's that she wants to manipulate where clues and enemies are.
Yeah, she might be one of the few investigators that will probably use the moving an enemy to her location.
Yeah, like, every part of this card is good for her.
Yeah.
I think entirely tangential, but I think that there might be a neat Tony deck with this lady.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I'll put it on the list for live deck, though. We'll try it out. I think that deck actually could be pretty.
Yeah.
More actions to kill things is always good.
Yeah, I think Trish might be, I don't want to say the only investigator who wants to use every single part of this card, or might want to use every single part of this card, depending on how a scenario unfolds. Mm-hmm. But, like, it all looks good.
Yeah. All right. Travis, return 2 boxes. I'll throw these to you.
Cool. Got an upgrade version of Think on Your Feet. So it just gives you a book symbol and doesn't cost any money, I'm pretty sure. Yep. We got Truth from Fiction. It's upgraded. Just gives you more. Secrets aren't conditional on having the clue in your location, and instead you get a bonus secret if there is a clue.
There is another difference for the upgraded Think on Your Feet is that it's when an enemy enters your location, not when an enemy spawns.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty handy.
So you can use it to just walk away from a hunter or something.
That's neat. Got level 3 Stealth, which is just a way to evade enemies for yourself. You can... so it's a lightning bolt instead of an action. You can use it to evade an enemy, and then like it just kind of sits at your location and doesn't engage to you, and you can use it to either get a free clue or properly evade it for free.
Yeah, you can also run this out and then shout, insert obscenity here, you shadow agents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then, evade them at 2.
Yeah.
Or 3, I guess they're 3.
Mm-hmm. We got a level 2 backpack, which is, you look at 12 cards, which is a lot. Help you find whatever you need to play the game well. And Knight of Swords is a tarot card, which is there's a number of cards that Trish can play that care about how much you succeed by, and her 4 book and 4 foot sometimes don't quite cut it, and this can help you push you over the edge.
When you said Knight of Swords is a tarot card, my brain filled that with you saying Knight of Swords is a terrible card, and I was like, what the frick? That was unexpected. All right, let's move on to the starter decks. And I'll take this page. Oh my god, there's a lot of cards. I can do this, though. I can do this.
You got this.
Burning the Midnight Oil, investigate when the action begins, gain 2 resources. You're going to be investigating anyway. If you have some book boost out to get you to 5, you're going to be comfortably basic investigating with this. Burning the Midnight Oil gives you some money back. Level 0 lockpicks isn't as required in Trish as it is in the other rogues. But it's also in our clue getting video down in the description. But if you're going to go into the level 1 lockpicks, I imagine the level 0 ones might start in your deck. They might not, though. But it is they could be a good placeholder for that. Streetwise, this is the non-permanent version. You can spend your resources to get +2 book or foot for a skill test. 0 cost to put into play. We have Glimpse the Unthinkable. Draw a card. Shuffle any number of non-weakness cards from your hand into your deck, then draw that many cards. This is a good way to wheel your hand, so to speak, if you're aware of Magic terms. If you want to get rid of cards you don't like, you can replace them with potentially better things. You also might draw the exact same hand, which would kind of be cool, and if you do, take a picture of it, because you just made history. Esoteric Atlas, the upgraded version, spend a secret, choose a reveal location up to 3 locations away, as opposed to 2, which I believe the last one was. And you get to move to that location. So if you're looking for more movement, this is a way that you can do that. I've got a plan, upgraded version. It's you get +2 book for the test. You deal +1 damage for each clue you have to a maximum of 3. Then we got the upgraded Seeking Answers. If you see, discover 2 total clues from among your location and connecting locations. So this has the same tricks as the other one, while you also can still take advantage of stuff at your own location as well. Then we got Perception, the upgraded one. More book, and if you succeed by 2, or more, you get to draw 2 cards instead of 1. And as Travis was saying when he talked about the tarot card, there's a lot of cards you have here that care about you succeeding by 2. Well, even though like all of the upgraded basic skills have this, it's even easier. It's like part of your whole thing. It's what you're going to be doing as Trish. Bryn, take these guys.
We got the upgraded Liquid Courage. So the thing about Liquid Courage is that neither one of them is strictly better than the other. This one, however, happens to be much better for investigators like Trish Scarborough, green investigators in particular. Same 4 supplies, same spend 1 supply, choose an investigator at your location to heal 1 horror, then they still test that same brain too. However, now if the test succeeds, they draw a card, and if the test fails, they heal an additional horror and discard 1 red card at random from their hand. So it's stronger if you are likely going to fail the test, like Trish probably will. We got the upgraded Slip Away. The difference here is that if you succeed by 3 or more, you get to return the Slip Away to your hand at the end of the turn. So you can just keep playing this card until you get tired of it. Really. I mean, or you draw a red token, I guess.
But just don't do that.
Yeah, just don't do that, though. We got upgraded Manual Decks. This commits for 3 foot icons, and if the test is successful, you draw 1 card, or 2 cards if the test succeeds by 2 or more. You know, it's just a good place to be. And we got the upgraded Lucky Cigarette Case. This card is just a green staple. However, what we're going to say about it is that when you add 2 of your numbers together, like maybe the 2 good ones you got, on something like a Slip Away, you're probably succeeding by a lot. You get to kind of pick and choose which cards you'd like to play the game with next.
Yeah, and this is when I mentioned earlier about the segment of Onyx. If you're succeeding by like 4 to 6 on a test, or in some cases, like think like Bryn succeeded by 8 with a Trish deck, it allows you to easily find what you need. Like you did the
Anything
3
you
aces,
want.
right?
Yeah. I was playing it to find 3 aces, but like it could have been anything.
Yeah. So The Lucky Cigarette Case level 3 makes it very easy for you to do like a search in your deck archetype here with Trish. All right, Travis. Here's your deck.
Yeah. It's pretty basic Trish deck. Got deduction, mal, dexterity, and perception and skills to bump our skill or our values up to good numbers, as well as the Crystallizer of Dreams is our accessory slot. Playing a big pile of events that we can put under that again to support those. The 4, especially the 4 in the book, is a little bit tough. And lots of the events that we're playing have double skill values or icons. They pair well with the Crystallizer. We have our Cryptographic Cipher and Flashlight for our hand slots. Cryptographic Cipher is chosen partially because it comes from the cycle that she's from, and also it's the Lightning Bolt ability is a nice way to pick up clues and evade enemies. Flashlight is just solid. It's cheap and does the job. Jeremiah Kirby is here because most of the things in this deck actually cost an even amount.
So sick.
I believe. Not all of them, but most of them. Unless, of course, you're digging specifically for the Crystallizer, you can pick odd. And Lone Wolf is our little economy engine along with Crack the Case. You handle this one to protect our garbage brain score, seeking answers, working a hunch, breaking and entering, narrow escape, all just ways to get clues and deal with enemies while having solid symbols to commit either on their own or to stick into the Crystallizer. Nothing fancy here.
Sick. That's another expanded guide in the books. Trish is here. Trish is very fun. If you're looking for a non-Bryn investigator, because as we know that Bryn hates just basic investigating. If you're looking for someone like that, Trish is your gal. She's also very strong too, and I think you'll have a good time with her. Using the notable cards from this video, I think you'll have much success. Huge thank you to our patrons for supporting the channel. You guys rock. We'll be back very soon. Not next week, I lied, but the week after is probably we're gonna go do some magic with Dexter Morgan, I think. So, and if it's someone else, that was the true trick all along. Thanks for watching, everybody. You guys have a good one. We love you, and as always, GG's.